So, you're building on Azure. At some point, you are going to hit this crucial decision. Which load balancer do you actually use? You know, if you get it right, your app is going to scale like a dream. But if you get it wrong, well, let's just say that's what we're here to figure out today. Okay, let's set the scene. Your application is an absolute smash hit. Users are pouring in, the traffic is off the charts, and you are celebrating a massive win. I mean, everything is just perfect. Or is it? See, with all that success comes a tidal wave of user requests, and suddenly, that single server you have is completely drowning. Performance starts to tank, users are getting frustrated, and your beautiful app is starting to crash. This, my friends, is a classic growing pain. Look, what you're running into here is a totally universal scaling problem. It's not just you, I promise. And the good news is, it has a really well-established solution. Let's break it down with a super simple analogy. Think of your app like it's a restaurant. You start with one amazing chef and a handful of customers. Service is fantastic, everything's smooth. But then a sudden dinner rush hits. That one poor chef gets completely overwhelmed, orders are piling up, and the whole kitchen just grinds to a halt. So what's the fix? Well, you hire more chefs, or in our world, you add more servers, and then you bring in a manager to direct all the orders. That manager, that's our load balancer, and their job is to intelligently spread out the work. Okay, so we get the why. But what about the how? Azure doesn't just hand you one hammer. It gives you a whole toolkit full of specialized load balancers. And the real trick is knowing exactly which one to pull out for the job. The absolute best way to make sense of your options is with this grid right here. It organizes all the tools based on two simple questions. First, what's your scope? Is it regional, meaning everything's running in just one data center, or is it global for users all over the world? Second, what kind of traffic are you dealing with? Is it layer 4, which is for basic network traffic? Think of this like routing a letter just based on the zip code. It's fast, simple, and doesn't care what's inside the envelope. Then you've got layer 7, which is built for web traffic. This is way smarter. It can actually open the envelope and read the letter inside, like the specific URL someone is asking for, to make much more intelligent decisions. Seriously, this framework is the key to everything. All right, let's start with the regional heroes. These are your go-to solutions when your app and your users are all hanging out in the same single Azure region. So, in this regional space, you've got two main choices. On one side, you have the Azure Load Balancer. It's your layer 4 traffic cop. It only looks at the network address and directs any kind of TCP or UDP packet without really knowing or caring what's inside. It is incredibly fast and efficient for any type of traffic, not just web. On the other side, you have the Application Gateway. This is your Layer 7 Smart Concierge. It's built specifically for web traffic. It actually reads the HTTP request so it understands things like the URL path. And that lets it make much smarter routing decisions, as you're about to see. So what does that smart routing actually look like? Well, because Application Gateway can read the URL, it can do some pretty cool stuff. If a request comes in for yourapp.com/video, boom, it sends it directly to your video servers. If another one comes in for /images, it zips it over to the image servers. This kind of path-based routing is an absolute game changer for modern apps built with microservices. Okay, let's zoom out a bit. What happens when your application isn't just in one region? What if it's deployed all over the world to serve a global audience? Well, that's when you call in Azure's global champions. Now, these two global services, they work in very different ways. Traffic Manager is all based on DNS. So when a user makes a request, Traffic Manager is kind of like a global phone book. It just gives their browser the IP address of the closest server before they even connect. It's great for basic high availability. Azure Front Door, on the other hand, is a whole different beast. It's a full-blown application delivery network. Your user's traffic connects directly to Microsoft's massive global network. And from that edge, Front Door can secure it, it can cache content for lightning speed, and it can route it to the best possible backend with near-instant failover. All right, we've met the whole team. So how in the world do you actually pick the right one for your job? Let's walk through a really simple decision flow that Azure itself actually recommends. Okay, question number 1, and it is the most important one. Are you dealing with web traffic? HTTP or HTTPS? If the answer is no, maybe you're running a database or a game server using UDP, then your choice is pretty simple. It's between the Layer 4 tools, Load Balancer or Traffic Manager. But if your traffic is web-based, then you unlock a whole new set of powerful options, which brings us to our next question. Second question, what's your scope? Is your application serving a worldwide audience from a bunch of different regions? If the answer is no, then you can just focus on that regional powerhouse, the application gateway. But if the answer is yes, you're going to need a global solution.
And finally, for that global web app of yours, what kind of advanced features do you need? Do you need a web application firewall for top-tier security? What about caching content right at the edge for crazy fast performance? Or maybe SSL offload, where the load balancer handles all the heavy lifting of encryption, freeing up your servers to just do their job. If you're nodding your head yes to any of these, then you're looking squarely at Azure's premium global service. So let's put it all together. This table pretty much maps your scenario right to the perfect solution. For simple, non-web traffic in just one region, you use Azure Load Balancer. For a regional web app, especially with microservices, you want Application Gateway. For basic global failover using DNS, Traffic Manager is your guy. And for the ultimate setup, a high-performance, super secure global web app, the best practice is actually to combine them. You use Front Door for all the global routing and security, and then you have it forward the traffic to an application gateway in each region for that smart local routing. It really is the best of both worlds.
Of course, choosing the right service isn't just about the cool tech features, right? You also have to think about the real-world stuff, like cost, and, making sure the service you pick isn't about to be retired. Now, Azure's model is pay-as-you-go, which is great, but you gotta keep an eye on a few things that can affect your bill. The amount of data processed, the number and size of your instances, how complex your rules are, and especially those advanced features like a web application firewall, all of those can add up, so just be sure to plan for it. And here is a really, really critical heads up. Several of the older classic and basic services are being retired. So if you're still using the basic load balancer or any of those classic services, you need to start planning your migration to their modern versions like standard or premium right now. Seriously, these deadlines are coming up way faster than you think. Here's a super important best practice, and this comes straight from Microsoft's own documentation. When you use a service like Front Door, you absolutely have to lock down your backend servers so they only accept traffic from Front Door itself. Why? Because this prevents attackers from just bypassing all of your fancy security at the edge and hitting your application servers directly. And that really brings us back to the core question you should be asking yourself. Do you just need a simple traffic cop to direct packets? Or do you need something more? A secure, intelligent, global front door for your entire application? The answer to that question will guide you straight to the perfect Azure solution. Thanks for joining this explainer.